Shalom, Akim. It's the brother YAHAWAH coming at you with another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahawah, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, Rakakadas. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory due unto Yahawah, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, Rakakadas. Dom Yah, man. Double honors to my elders and apostles of great millstone and teaching real well in the scriptures. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect, to you brothers out there on the highways and the byways, pushing his word in truth and sincerity. You, we say Shalom. Now, this lesson is going to be entitled, Alexander the Great defeating the Medes and the Persians, you know what I'm saying, was on behalf of Yahawah BaHaShem YAHAWASHI. You know what I'm saying? Or you know, I ain't gonna lie, Akim, I don't have a I don't got a perfect title for it, but I'm gonna find a title for it. But the viewpoint of the lesson is basically the battle is Yahawah BaHaShem YAHAWASHI's, man. The battle is the Lord's, man. I'm gonna find a way somehow to kind of include Alexander the Great in there, Alexander the Creep. You know what I'm saying? As the elders would call him, man, because he definitely was a fucking flaming faggot, man. You know what I'm saying? They got a movie on Netflix. Like I done said numerous times, I really want to exhort brothers to check that movie out, man, because that movie was an eye-opener on basically key characteristics that this so-called white man is carried through with him throughout his history and his evolution of himself, man. You know what I'm saying? They were always faggots. I hear Apostle Carr say this shit all the time. Esau is a natural born fucking faggot, man. And y'all push that vibration on the rest of the world. That's why the scriptures say that y'all are the border of wickedness, man. Wherever y'all go, y'all bring that wicked ass philosophy. Because in the movie you had Alexander the Great. The Greeks basically do the same thing the U.S. do. We gonna come over here to your country. We gonna teach your kids Greek and in a Greek fashion, man. Which basically is an Edomite fashion. You know what I'm saying? Salakia, I can lips a little dry, man. But anyway, like I said, man, I'm gonna get straight to it, man. You know what I'm saying? This lesson ain't gonna be real quick because it's basically I gotta get a article, so to say, and I'm gonna go through it and I'm gonna get some scriptures, man. And you know that this lesson might be an hour long. I just ask Akim to bear with me, man. And hopefully, Yahawah BaHaShem YAHAWASHI, BaHaShem Rakakadas Ratazah. This is edifying to the elect, man. To the Habakayar. You know what I'm saying? Just a second, Akim. Okay. Alexander the Great visits Jerusalem. And we're going to get into, through the spirit and power of Yahawah BaHaShem YAHAWASHI, BaHaShem Rakakadas, what he visited Jerusalem for, man. Because everybody will have you think, okay, Alexander the Great is this great guy, and he just, you know, the Esau's blessing is the sword, but who did he get that blessing from? Yahawah BaHaShem YAHAWASHI, man. At the end of the day, Yahawah gave him that blessing through Isaac, man, which we know Isaac, through the spirit, we know Isaac was YAHAWASHI, man. You know? And now, if you got, we can, that is provable precept upon precept. So, like I said, man, Esau, Alexander the Great, you know, they teach us about how he's this great conqueror and how he defeated the Persians. And they even make the movie about how he defeated the Persians, man. That's a big, big thing. That was a big deal for him. That was a big deal. It was a big win as far as him expanding his empire, man. Without his defeating of the Persians, he wouldn't have been as big as he was. We're going to see how he defeated the Persians and what gave him the wherewithal to do so, Akim. And this is the article. Most scholars agree that the following story told by Jewish historian Flavius Josephus in his Jewish Antiquities is not true. Of course, Esau gonna tell you it ain't true, man. You know. It says one argument is that Alexander is shown a book that was not yet written. Another argument is that the story is a bit too good to be true. The Sumerians, the eternal rivals of the Jews, blacken the Jews and get permission to build a temple of their own. Alexander visits Jerusalem, understands that he owes everything to the God of the Jews. Who's the God of the Jews? The real Jews, Yahawah. You know what I'm saying? His son's name, YAHAWASHI, man. And it says, Alexander visits Jerusalem, understands that he owes everything to the God of the Jews, allows them the privilege to live according to their ancestral customs, and behaves rather unkind towards the Samaritans. If a Jew in the 2nd century BCE were to invent a story, he could write something along these lines. Everybody want to tell you that it was in, you know what I'm saying, the historical evidence and just how spiritual it is, it tells you that that wasn't a lie, man. That was something that was, it had to actually go on. You know what I'm saying? And we're going to get further into it. I'm going to skip down, man. It says, let's see. It says, on closer inspection, however, we may notice some odd details. In the first place, the Samaritans are allowed to keep their temple, not exactly something a Jew would invent. And in fact, a plausible punishment for the Jewish refusal to send soldiers. In the second place, in fact, Alexander gives the Jews no privileges at all. Everything he grants the Jews had already been granted to them by the Persian kings. This is Alexander's usual policy. Let's see. It says basically, man, that there is no. He did, in fact, Alexander the Great indeed did sacrifice to the God of the Jews. And I'm skimming down Akim, so you know what I'm saying. I'm gonna bring some precepts out later on a little bit, you know what I'm saying. But I want to get into the article first, man. It says another aspect that deserves to be mentioned is Alexander's demand for auxiliaries in the presence the Jews formerly had sent to the Persian government. This matches the demand by Alexander to Darius that he would address him as the master of Persian possessions. Now, I'm skipping down throughout all that, Akim. If it wasn't edifying, Salakia, I had to kind of pick through this. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, so when I think I'm reading in the Josephus now. You know what I'm saying? Because it says Alexander visits Jerusalem. So when Alexander besieged Tyre, he sent an epistle to the Jewish high priest, which the high priest wouldn't have been Jewish, man. That's how you know some of this is right, but at the same time, you have to be able to pick the meat out, Akim, and that's what I just told y'all, like that's what I was doing. You know what I'm saying? So if I took too long, Salakia, man. But I plan on making this a pretty edifying lesson, man, through the spirit and power of YAHAWASHI, YAHAWASHI, man. It says sent an epistle to the Jewish high priest. There wasn't anything as so-called Jewish back then, man. There were only Jews, the real Jews of antiquity, the so-called Negroes, Haitians and West Indians, man, because we made up the Commonwealth of Judah. Of course, you had the separate tribes, Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, but you know what I'm saying, we know that we were all considered Jews, man. So this is getting in the rest of it. It says to send him some auxiliaries and to supply his army with provisions, and that what presents he formerly sent to Darius he would now send to him, and choose the friendship of the Macedonians, that he should never repent of so doing. You know what I'm saying? But the high priest answered the messengers that he had given his oath to Darius not to bear arms against him. You know what I'm saying? And he said that he would not transgress this while Darius was in the land of the living. Upon hearing this answer, Alexander was very angry. You know how Esau is, man. You know? And it says, and though he determined not to leave Tyre, which was just ready to be taken, yet as soon as he had taken it, he threatened that he would make an expedition against the Jewish high priest. Meaning he threatened the high priest, meaning, look, I'm going to come see you, man. And the high priest was not Jewish. There is no fucking such thing as Jewish, man. Well, I ain't going to say it ain't, because the people over there, they do wish to be like us. To put ish on something is a suffix, meaning wishing to be like, man. You know what I'm saying? So we not finna play with that. It wasn't back then. It wasn't no fucking such thing as Jewish. There was just the Jewish, man. The the high priest, man. Esau always got a way of you know what I'm saying, giving you misinformation with information, man. These fucking devils, man. These people are the ultimate fucking deceivers, man. I can't wait till we get our power from Yahawah BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI and we can put this shit back in subjection, man, by way of the laws and by way of the scriptures. Because the way that this man has this society set up is the reason why things are the way that they are, man. Shit is all out of course, man. Goddamn fucking heathens, man. Anyway, back to the lesson, Akim. And it says, and through him teach all men to whom they must keep their oaths. Meaning he was going to make an example out of the high priest, man. Alexander the Great planned on making an example out of the high priest, man. Probably the same example that Antiochus Epiphanes, his fucking general, Anton, you know what I'm saying? He had the same intentions, man. Because when Alexander the Great died, it was him that was given rule over their province of Jerusalem, if I'm not mistaken, man. And he did some very gruesome shit to Hellenize us, man. You know what I'm saying? I don't got time to get into that. Brothers know about the 7 brothers in the book of Maccabees, man. You know? So, getting back to the lesson, it says, so when he had with a good deal of pains during the siege taken Tyre and had settled its affairs, he came to the city of Gaza and besieged both the city and him that was governor of the garrison, whose name was Bamesses. Salaki, if I misquoted that, Akim. I'm gonna try to post a link to this on my Instagram. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna try to learn how to post a link in my bio too to at least to this article, man. Basically, the article is, as it says right here on the screen. I don't know if brothers can see it, but all you gotta do is look up Alexander the Great visits Jerusalem, and it's at livius.org. You know what I'm saying? That is livius.org, man. Alexander the Great visits Jerusalem. Now back to the lesson. And it says, but Sanballat thought he had now gotten a proper opportunity to make his attempt, so he renounced Darius, and taking with him 7,000 of his own subjects, he came to Alexander, and finding him beginning the siege of Tyre, he said to him that he delivered up to him these men who came out of places under his dominion, and did gladly accept of him for his lord instead of Darius. So when Alexander had received him kindly, Sanballat took courage and spoke to him about his present affair. He told him that he had a son-in-law, Manasseh, who was brother to the high priest Jadus, and that there were many others of his own nation now with him that were desirous to have a temple in the places subject to him. That it would be for the king's advantage to have the strength of the Jews divided into 2 parts, lest when the nation is of one mind and united upon any attempt for the innovation, it prove troublesome to kings, as it had formerly proved to the kings of Assyria. You know what I'm saying? In the book of Esther, Haman, he was telling the king, man, that there was a certain people that were basically rebellious to kings, man, and by way of the laws that they kept. That people was always us, man. You know what I'm saying? We were the people that gave the kings of Assyria a problem, because the kings of Assyria thought to come and siege Jerusalem, man, when King Hezekiah was ruling. And the Lord sent the angel down to one angel to destroy a whole army of them, man. So imagine what's going to be like when all the angels are down here visiting this earth with Yahawashi. Man, it's going to be it's going to be terrific, man. Lots of death, man. One angel itself can bring lots of death, man. So think about legions of them, man. You know? So anyway, whereupon Alexander gave Sanballat leave to do so, who used the utmost diligence and built the temple, and made Manasseh the priest, and deemed it a great reward that his daughter's children should have that dignity. But when the 7 months of the siege of Tyre were over, and the 2 months of the siege of Gaza, Sanballat died. Now Alexander, when he had taken Gaza, made haste to go up to Jerusalem. This is where it gets interesting, I think. And Jadus the high priest, when he heard that, was in agony, man, and under terror, the same terror that King Hezekiah was in before he made that prayer to Yahweh BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI, because the king of Assyria was coming, man. He was in terror. You know what I'm saying? Because regardless of how strong we might have thought our armies was, we always knew that the battle was the Lord's, man. And that's what this lesson is about, man. You know, and I'm gonna get to the point. It says, and under terror, as not knowing how he should meet the Macedonians, since the king was displeased at his foregoing disobedience. He therefore ordained that the people should make supplications and should join with him in offering sacrifice unto Yahweh, whom he besought to protect that nation. Same thing King Hezekiah did, man. The same thing King Jehoshaphat did, man. We knew that back then that the battle was the Lord's. And even every small ass battle we got now, Akim, we got to know that battle is still Yahweh's, man. And we will need his help to battle these spirits, man. It's been getting cranked the fuck up around here. I don't know if Akim can feel it, but them damn demons, man. You know what I'm saying? Brothers been having to pray more, rebuke spirits more. You know what I'm saying? I feel like a lot of the laying of the hands is about to happen on too, man, of people, man. You're going to see brothers laying hands on people more, man. You're going to see the spirit of the Lord start to go forth through this place like it did in the days of old when Yahawashi left, man. And some brothers, some of us are going to do things greater than the things written in the book because Yahawashi has gone to his Father, man. He said, these works shall you do and greater than these, man. Anyway, getting back to the lesson, Akim. It says, he therefore ordained that the people should make supplications and join with him in the offering of sacrifice to Yahweh, whom he besought to protect their nation and to deliver them from the perils that were coming upon them, man. We got Jacob's trouble, man. We got to be in the spirit, Akim, of making supplication unto Yahweh without ceasing, man. That's going to be one of the most troublesome times in the days to come, man. And that's what the spirit we supposed to be in, man. Always praying for brothers. Send your prayers up as a camp collectively, man. Thumb yard, man, when possible. Send your prayers up by yourself, man. Remember to stay in the spirit, man. We have to in these days to come. It says, whereupon Yahweh warned him in a dream, which came upon him after he had offered sacrifice, that he should take courage and adorn the city. Man, and look, man, take courage, man. Be of good courage. You know what I'm saying? Dress the city up, get the city real nice. You know, and it says, and open the gates that the rest should appear in white garments, but that he and the high priest should meet the king in the habits proper to their order, without the dread of any ill consequences which the providence of Yahweh would prevent. Meaning they were supposed to meet Alexander the Great without fear, man. You know? Same thing that we're going to have to get told when we get brought up in front of some of these kings and governors, man. The elite, man. The Lord told us, don't take fear. Don't worry about what you're going to say, man. You know, I got you. The battle is mine, man. And if we got to die for this truth, fuck it, man. Fuck this place, dude. Plenty of us probably all ready to go right now any damn way, man. Precious is the death of his saints in the eyes of Yahweh BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI, man. So if you got to pray, so if you got to die for this truth, man, so be it, man. It says, upon which he rose from his sleep and he greatly rejoiced, meaning the high priest got that dream and the spirit was on him like, you know what? All right, man, cool, man. All right, Yahweh BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI, I'm gonna get it going, man. It says, and declared to all the warning he had received from Yahweh, according to which dream he acted entirely, and so waited for the coming of the king. Now, Akim, I'm just going off the spirit, man, with this. I can't prove that the Josephus is all the way right, but through my spirit, I know that the battle has always been the Lord's, and I know that this just seems too much. It's the spirit, man. It seems too right. Alexander the Great wasn't shit, man, without Yahweh BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI giving him the strength to take over the battle, man. We know that the battle is the Lord's, man, and the Lord is a man of war, man. So it says, according to Khan, it says, and when Jadis understood that Alexander was not far from the city, he went out in procession with the priests and the multitude of the citizens. The procession was venerable, and the manner of it different from that of the other nations. It reached to a place called Safa, which name translated and to Greek signifies a prospect. For you have thence a prospect both of Jerusalem and of the temple. And when the Phoenicians and the Samaritans that followed him thought they should have liberty to plunder the city and torment the high priest to death, I mean, you see how the other nations come, man. You see how they act, man. And they was rolling with Esau, man. The Phoenicians, man, I think those are Canaanites, man. Though they come from Ham, man. The Samaritans, I think they come from the Samaritans might come from Shem or they might come from Ham. I'm not sure. Akim, I gotta get brushed up on that. But those are other nations, man. And you see what they was ready to do, man. Talking about plunder the city and torment the high priest to death. And it says, which the king's displeasure fairly promised them. The very reverse of it happened. The king, Alexander the Great, said, all right, y'all gonna get to do that. They came upon the city with the thought of bringing war and death and destruction upon us, man. Same thing that the king of Assyria thought to do, except for it's going to go a little bit different with Alexander the Great, man. It says, for Alexander the Great, when he saw the multitude at a distance in white garments, while the priest stood clothed with fine linen, and the high priest in purple and scarlet clothing, with his mitre on his head, having the golden plate whereupon the name of Yahawah was engraved. We know what the name of God is, man. It's Yahawah, man. And it says, and his son's name is YAHAWASHI. And it says he approached by himself and adored that name. That name. You hear what he said? He said he adored that name that was written upon the mitre that the high priest had upon his head, man. The name of Yahawah, man. And it says, and adored that name and first saluted the high priest. Alexander the Great thought to come and put us to death, man. Put the high priest to death, man. He didn't come with the intent on doing what he did, but the spirit got on his motherfucking ass, man. Excuse my language. The spirit got on his Edomite ass, man. And he showed obeisance to the priest, man. Not because of the priest to being the priest, but because of that name, and we're going to get that, man. It says the Jews also did all together with one voice salute Alexander and encompass him about. Whereupon the kings of Syria and the rest were surprised at what Alexander had done, and supposed him disordered in his mind. Meaning when he bowed down to the priest and saluted him, they thought he was out of his damn mind, man. We're going to get that because it says everybody saluted Alexander with one voice, man. Meaning they knew that the Lord had given him power, man. You know what I'm saying? So they did what they had to do, man, accordingly. Let's see. We're going to read what they did again, and we're going to get that why they did that in the scriptures. The Jews also did all together with one voice salute Alexander and encompass him about, man. Meaning all of us with one voice saluted him, man. Do the scriptures tell you to go against who the Lord put in power or set up? Or do they tell you that the powers are ordained, that the powers that be are ordained of Yahawah, meaning they were put in place by him, man? We can't buck up against Esau, not physically. You know what I'm saying? We do get to execute the judgment written by way of us prophesying, but we ain't got no fucking weapons to go against this damn devil, man. And when he come up, man, we you know what I'm saying? We show the due respect to this devil because it still is his kingdom, man. We cussing his ass out in his house, man. That's why when the police ran up on me and the brother at camp, man, I just like spirit got on me like, man, look, I'm not scared of you, you fucking devil. I know what it is, but shit, do you need us to pack up? You know what I'm saying? Agree with thine enemies while thou art in the way with him, man. And you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna get a precept, man. I'm gonna get a couple of precepts, Akim, because I still want the scripts to go out, even though I was, you know what I'm saying? I basically was like trying to just read from this article or whatever. But, you know, still got to bring them scripts out, man. Let me see, which one was that? I'm going to get Romans, the 13th chapter. I got a couple of other precepts too, man. I'm going to save them though. Let's see, Romans 13th chapter. It says, "Let every soul." That's why you heard him. It said in you know what I'm saying, in the Josephus right here that I'm reading out of. It says, The Jews also did all together with one voice salute Alexander, man. You know? And it says, this is Romans 13:1, let every soul be subject unto the higher powers, for there is no power but of Yahawah, the powers that be are ordained of Yahawah, man. Meaning the Lord gives the kingdom of men to whomsoever he will, even the basest of men, man. Like it says in Daniel. And the scriptures tell you that the Lord is making us angry with a base nation, man. You know what I'm saying? These people that rule over us, these Edomites, these so-called white people, are children of fools, man. Thus saith the Holy Scriptures, man. They are base men. You know? So this is going on. It says, whosoever therefore resisteth the power, resisteth the ordinance of Yahawah, and they that resist shall receive of themselves damnation. For rulers are not a terror to good works, but to the evil. Without then not be afraid of the power that do that which is good, and thou shalt have praise of the same. The high priest, he did what was good, man. He did what the Lord told him to do. Adorn the city, get everything set in order, have no fear. I'm with y'all, you know what I'm saying? And show obedience to this man. But let him know who I am. Let him know that he got to sacrifice unto me before he go defeat Darius, man. You know what I'm saying? And this the spirit, man. I wasn't even on that precept. This is Matthew 5:25. Agree with thine adversary whilst thou art in the way with him. The high priest was in the way with Alexander the Great, man. He had to agree with him quickly, man. You know what I'm saying? It says, lest at any time the adversary deliver thee to the judge, and the judge deliver thee to the officer, and thou be cast into prison. You niggas who love to go back and forth and get into it with Esau when he pulling you over for a simple traffic infraction, man. Get the fucking ticket and go home, man. Be fighting and arguing with this wicked ass devil, man. You know he ain't got no fucking sense. So why should you feed into his bullshit by turning up with him, man? Act like you got some fucking sense, man, and maybe some of you niggas will stay the fuck out of jail, man. Anyways, man, I'm going to get back to this because I'm really trying to prove my point, man, by reading this article. It says, okay, however, Parmenion alone went up to him and asked how it came to pass that when all others adored him, he should adore the high priest of the Jews, to whom he replied, I did not adore him, but that God who has honored him with his priesthood. Meaning he didn't adore the high priest. He adored the name of Yahawah, man. He adored Yahawah BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI, man. That's who he adored. He didn't care about he didn't reverence the high priest, man. You think the police reverence us? Nah, man. This work in this council is of Yahawah BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI. That's why they reverence us. That's why they let us do what we do, man. For the most part. You got some of them devils that'll get out of their fucking place, man, and touch the men of the Lord, but we always end up making it out of that situation, man. Don't never think that you don't got a fucking Edomite that's going to choose to be that's not the exception to the rule, man. Some of them goddamn Edomites really will take you to court, and even though they'll lose, they'll take it there, man. They wicked, man. They don't know the Most High. They don't consider him, man. But when they do consider what we got going on, they consider who we're preaching, man. We preaching Yahawah BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI, man. Do they reverence the Most High as far as keeping his laws? No. But do they fear that? But do they feel him? Do they fear him still? Yeah, they do, man. Because that's what they do. You're not giving respect to the men of the Lord. You're giving respect to Yahawah BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI when you let us preach the word, man. And let us carry on about our business, man. You know? So, it says, are we not priests, Akim? Alexander the Great said, but I did not adore him, but that God who has honored him with his priesthood. Yahawah BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI, YAHAWAH YAHAWASHI, man. They honored us with our priesthood to be able to go out there and teach, man. They get them police when they come up on us and tell us y'all all right and let us go on about our business. They fearing the Lord and his son, man. They fearing the names Yahawah and YAHAWASHI, man. You know, so it says, and this is going on with Alexander the Great. It said, for I saw this very person in a dream in this very habitat when I was at Dion in Macedonia, who, when I was considering with myself how I might obtain the dominion of Asia, exhorted me to make no delay, but boldly to pass over the sea thither, for that he would conduct my army and would give me the dominion over the Persians. Meaning, I don't know if Alexander the Great is saying, I think he's saying he saw the high priest in the dream telling him, man, to basically to make no delay, to get here to Jerusalem, man. You know what I'm saying? To give those, do that sacrifice to Yahweh so that he could defeat Darius, man. Because it says that for that he would conduct my army and would give me the dominion over the Persians. Who is that? He, Yahawah, man. BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI, man. Because the battle is the Lord, man. Dude, Alexander the Great said that the Lord was going to conduct his army and give him the dominion over the Persians. So who's the battle? The battle is the Lord's, man. We're going to get that in 2 Chronicles, the 20th chapter and the 15th verse. So, I can got a couple of pages to flip through, man. 2 Chronicles 20 and 15. This is 2 Chronicles 20 and 15. And he said, hearken ye all Judah, and ye inhabitants of Jerusalem, and thou King Jehoshaphat. This was a prophet. Basically, that's the spirit, because I mentioned this, man. This is the prophet Jahaziel. You know what I'm saying? And he was a Levite, man. And the spirit got on the brother while Jehoshaphat had all of Judah praying. And this is what he said, man. And he said, hearken ye all Judah, and ye inhabitants of Jerusalem, and thou King Jehoshaphat. King Jehoshaphat had to do the same thing King Hezekiah had to do. The high priest had to do the same thing that King Hezekiah and King Jehoshaphat did when Alexander the Great came up on him, man. He had to pray unto the Lord, man. Because Alexander the Great had thought on killing him. You know what I'm saying? It was after that he met the high priest that he remembered his dream. You know? About the high priest basically telling him to come and serve the Lord so that he could get the win over the Persians, man. And it says, and thou King Jehoshaphat, thus saith Yahawah unto you, be not afraid nor dismayed by reason of this great multitude, for the battle is not yours, but Yahawah's, man. You know, and I'm going to get Exodus 15 and 3. This gonna be the lesson name and the title. I got a title, like in Alexander the Great served YAHAWAH YAHAWASHI, man. You know what I'm saying? That's gonna be that's gonna be the lesson title, man. I couldn't get it at first, but it's all good though. Exodus 15 and 3. This is Exodus 15 and 3. The Lord is a man of war. Yahawah is his name. You know what I'm saying? His name, you know what I'm saying? The Lord of hosts. That's his name, man. That's one of his titles anyway. Yahawah is his name. You know what I'm saying? But the host is an army, man. The battle is the Lord's, man. We just read that. So let's get the rest of this. Let's see what I got. I'm at 33 minutes. I'm going to try to wrap this up. And it says, whence it is that having seen no other in that habit, and now seeing this person in it, and remembering that vision, and the exhortation which I had in my dream, I believe that I bring this army under divine conduct, and shall therewith conquer Darius. Divine intervention, man. The Persians were a strong kingdom, but who had to divinely intervene for them to fall out of power, man, and to give that and to translate that power to another, man? Yahawah, man. You know what I'm saying? Let me see, man. I'm going to get another precept. I'm gonna get a preset for it. Give me just a second, I can. Trying to remember it, man. I basically want to get that scripture where the Lord is talking about the Lord is Yahweh is the judge. He bringeth down one and lifteth up another, man. Okay. I finally found it. I can Salakia. Be like that sometimes, man. We know in part and we prophesy in part, man. This is Psalm 75 and 7. But Yahweh is the judge. He putteth down one and setteth up another, man. He put up Darius and he set up and he brought Darius down and set up Alexander the Great in his stead, man. It was the Lord that did that. And it said that Alexander said he now knew after he met the high priest that he had that army under divine conduct, man. Meaning that the Lord was with that army. That's how he took down the Persians, man. You think Alexander the Great just so great? The Edomites are just a superpower? No, America was a superpower because the Lord allowed it to be, man. Y'all ain't shit now because he bringing y'all down, man. And he gonna bring up the nation of Israel, man, because we tired of you other nations and we tired of you fucking Edomites, man. Y'all ain't had y'all chances to rule. It's fucking over, dude. Like, seriously. Cut it, man. You know what I'm saying? And it says, and shall therewith conquer Darius and destroy the power of the Persians, and that all things will succeed according to what is in my own mind. And it says, and when he had said this to Parmenion, he had given the high priest his right hand. The priest ran along by him, and he came into the city, and he went up into the temple. He offered sacrifice to Yahweh according to the high priest's direction, and magnificently treated both the high priest and the priest. And when the book of Daniel was showed him, wherein Daniel declared that one of the Greeks should destroy the empire of the Persians, he supposed that himself was the person intended, man. And he was then glad he dismissed the multitude for the present. But the next day he called them to him and bid them ask what favors they pleased of him. Whereupon the high priest desired that they might enjoy the laws of their forefathers and might pay no tribute on the 7th year, man. Simple shit, man. Esau won't grant it to us. He granted us. These devils don't give a damn about the laws, man. And it says he granted all they desired. And when they asked him that he would permit the Jews in Babylon and Media to enjoy their own laws also, he willingly promised to do hereafter what they desired. You know what I'm saying? And it says, and when he said to the multitude that if any of them would enlist themselves in his army on this condition, that they should continue under their laws of their forefathers and live according to them, he was willing to take them with him. Many were ready to accompany him in his war. So that means that Jake fought with Alexander the Great too, man. Why you think he got some Jakes after he came to Jerusalem? Because the Lord gave him a couple of Jakes, man, to help him win the battle, man. He said that he now knew that through YAHAWASHI, he had his army under divine conduct, man. Meaning divine intervention. The Lord divinely intervened in Darius' ruling, man. And he divinely gave that power to Alexander the Great, man. Ain't nobody that damn great but Yahweh and YAHAWASHI, man. Ain't no man shit without the Lord making them something, man. You know? And it says, so when Alexander had thus settled matters at Jerusalem, he led his army into the neighboring cities. Meaning he had to settle his matters in Jerusalem first, man. And when all the inhabitants to whom he came received him with great kindness, the Samaritans who had then Shechem, you know what? I'm not even gonna go into the rest of it. That was really it My point was proven, Akim Salakia. My point was proven though, man. Alexander the Great, it said that he figured that he was that Greek that was gonna take down the Persians, written about in the book of Daniel, man. And I'm gonna try to tap into that before I close out. But like we see, man, the battle is the Lord's, man. Alexander the Great had a divine conduct over his army through the spirit and power of Yahawah BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI for him to take over Persia like he did, man. And before he did, he had to do sacrifice unto Yahawah BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI, man. The Lord will humble anybody. He humbled Nebuchadnezzar, man. He humbled Alexander, man. He gonna humble you fucking Rothschilds, man. The Lord, Yahawah said he gonna make y'all kiss our feet, man, and to know that he has loved us, man. You fucking Jewish people, you Amalekites, man. You know what I'm saying? I guess I'm gonna just go ahead, man, and I'm gonna close it out, man. You know, I'm gonna close it out with a scripture. All right. Calling for the scripture. This is Daniel 4:17. This matter is by the decree of the watchers and the demand of the word of the holy ones, to the intent that the living may know, Alexander the Great, that includes you, man, that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and giveth it to whomsoever he will, and setteth up over it even the basis of men. Alexander the Great was a base man, but the Lord gave him the kingdom, man. He didn't get it by himself. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna close this lesson out, Akim. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna get that title for it, man, and that's gonna be that. But like I said, man, I'm gonna end off by giving all praise, honor, and glory due unto Yahawah, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM Rakakwadash. Double honors again to my elders and apostles of the great millstone who rule and teach well in the scriptures. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect. And to you brothers, I say shalom, man. Hopefully this is edifying for the elect, man, and for the 1/3. Shalom.